Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the continuation of the TNT Tuesday Night Titans review series. This is probably going to be the shortest TNT review that you ever hear because this is the biggest throwaway of a show that they ever did with this particular part of the franchise or part of the program here. Um, I won't even go through the whole process of it because this is a show dedicated to enhancement talent. Yes, a show dedicated to enhancement talent. They don't even show full matches here. That's why literally I'll be able to get through this in easily probably about 5 to 7 minutes. But there's a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments, four of which are dedicated to enhancement talent, and one dedicated to a stand-up comic um, in a mask. Um, he is. Let me see the name they gave this fella here. He is Crusher Comic, and it's obviously a satire on stand-up comedy, not to be taken seriously. Anybody who takes this seriously would have to have had a brain injury at some point. And it's campy and it's bad and it's horrible and it's not funny unless you like slapstick stuff that is meant to be over the top. Anyhow, David Sammartino is the only one in this that gets a full match. The rest of the enhancement talent gets clipped matches and short interviews because they're bunched together in groups of three. It's almost like they lost an episode and had to fill time with something because this is just abysmally bad. Um, anyway, Sammartino has a relatively undescript match. Wins, I believe, with a bear hug. He uses power, but there is a suplex that he executes here. The only reason I would encourage you to watch anything associated with this program is this particular suplex. He hits a belly to back suplex and just dumps the guy on his head. It is brutal. I don't know if he's angry. I don't know if he slipped. I don't know if his give a damn was busted. I don't know what happened here, but I mean he just folds the guy in half like an accordion or a paper airplane. Brutal looking. Sammartino really does his damage here, and suffice to say, not a fun time for Mr. Bob Wade. Anyway, we go into the interview room with Mario Mancini, Paul Roma, and Steve Lombardi, all of which, as mentioned previously, are enhancement talents, all of which are arguing that they are the best of the bunch, and for the most part, they're talking about how hard it is to be on the road as an enhancement talent. They are kind of commiserating what it is to be a pro wrestling loser, and they're agreeing with each other a lot about the challenges they face. They're agreeing with each other a lot about some of the difficulties, and Roma kind of stands out and says, "Hey, I work harder than anybody. I've got a good body." Lombardi laments having difficulties getting a winning streak going, and that's just what they do. They do show, as mentioned earlier, clips of matches of them getting the tar beat out of them. That's why it's really not worth going into great detail over. Um, we see the same when we come back from commercial break with three more enhancement talents. This time, Jose Luis Rivera, who I guess many people don't know a lot about Rivera. Rivera does have some opening match and early match success a few years earlier here, probably in 82 through 80, early 85. We actually see him win a few matches, but not during this era. By this era, he has been downgraded on the card to an enhancement talent. We then see Rusty Brooks. Brooks, most notably known for an enhancement match with Hulk Hogan on Superstars. I believe I want to say that's 86, 87 that match takes place. Um, Brooks did train a few wrestlers years later. I'd actually have to go and see who all he trained, but I know he trained a few people because I've heard a few shoot interviews where it said trained by Rusty Brooks, and I thought, gee, there's a sentence I never thought I'd hear. I know there's at least two or three female wrestlers that he trained over the years. Don't know that I've ever heard him talk about it, or that anyone male ever talked about being trained by him. But anyhow, Powers, he's relatively new among the enhancement talent bunch. He is focused here on still thinking that he has the ability to, be a bigger influence than he does at the moment. Rivera, obviously with the language barrier, does the least amount of speaking, and Brooks thinks he's one break away from being a star. Then we move on to segment number 3. Johnny Roz, Charlie Fulton, and Pete, the Duke of Dorchester, Doherty, are in this segment. Doherty, for those who are familiar with the New England circuit, is probably one of the most beloved enhancement talents in the New England area because he was on that circuit. So things like Providence or Boston or various places in the Connecticut area, you'd always see the Duke of Dorchester around this time and probably through maybe the early 90s perhaps. I know I saw him a few times live, Boston Garden and such. Anyhow, he is very outspoken. He is yelling and screaming and carrying on about, not getting the respect, and he's the Duke, and he's the Duke of Dorchester, and needs to be referred to as such. We see Fulton, who probably of the bunch, Charlie Fulton is the most successful. Later goes on to be a member of the Fantastics. Later goes on to be a tag team with his brother Jackie, and probably has the more competitive. So there's two levels of enhancement talent. There's a competitive enhancement talent, which is like your George Souths, your Barry Horowitz, your maybe Charlie Fulton during this era, and then your non-competitive. The non-competitives are the ones who, if they're lucky, they get in one offensive move. Your competitive enhancement talents, though, are guys that you think, at least during the first half of the match, they've got a shot at winning because they get strings of offense together but never can put together a win. Johnny Rodz, of course, training many people, trains Tommy Dreamer, trains Devon Dudley, trains a couple of other stars. I'm pretty sure he trained Taz. So a lot of the ECW crew and a lot of the mid to late 90s crew, as it relates to the New England and tri-state area, Independence area, they come out of New York, out of Rod's school. So that's where he is. The unpredictable Johnny Rodz is a guy who was around during the late 70s, early 80s, and around through this time as well. So he has a multi-year career as an enhancement talent. And then we go to the stand-up comedy of Crusher Comic. It's as bad as it sounds, folks. Completely skippable. I don't like I mentioned at the beginning of this review. I don't know what they were thinking, but certainly the May 3rd, 1985 edition of TNT 1000% skippable unless you like cringeworthy programming. In any event, we'll be back with more of the TNT review series. Like, subscribe, comment below. Would love your feedback, would love your input, and please feel free. We want to make this the biggest section of pro wrestling audio reviews and MMA reviews possible. We need your support. Subscribe, like, comment below to make that happen.